Dang. Look, you gotta fix this. I'll get it better one day. Might just boot it up. Dang. Let me see how bright that light is. Let me see. Dang. I want it to be dark too. Let me see if this light is. Nah, we can't do this. We can't do this. Well, first string in like 30 weeks. I know. It's been a week, 7 days. I got 3 followers over my first string. Like that. Let me get off my popcorn. Let me get to watching some. Have me some popcorn and ice cream, nigga. That nigga eater. Top verified episode 22. Jeez. Damn near halfway done with my string. I mean, I just I don't mind that. A little piece of popcorn. What's going on with this?
Oh, our SVIP is here. Come in, please.
You're in the way.
I gotta get an ad blocker. Yeah, you get no payment off of me. Oh no.
Of my dog. Get back. Why should I allow a dog to cut?
The day-to-day routine of Dr. Gears consisted of a few constants. Piping hot cups of black, unsweetened coffee, plain dry wheat toast, the soothing sounds of his favorite white noise machine, and the endless carousel of experiments with SCP-914. Not that he was complaining. He was perfectly content to spend his time supervising one of the few anomalies he crossed paths with on a regular basis that was unlikely to kill or maim him in any way. Not that the Clockworks hadn't produced its fair share of unpredictable results over the years of extensive testing. It had definitely offered up more than a few surprises. And anyone who knew Dr. Gears knew that he was not especially fond of surprises.
Well, let's put that
Dr. Wright had attempted to throw a surprise.
And I don't care about none of this. I don't care about none of that lore. We on to some movies. Hold on. Ooh.
Ben is a young boy who is trapped inside an old-fashioned study room. He has little time to survive, because this is a death game. To leave the place, Ben finds a door with a puzzle on the wall that needs him to slide 4 digits into its place to unlock it. To get the 4 digits, he must solve many puzzles. He finds a papyrus map and goes with the word green, so he gets his hands on a green book. At first, he reaches time as a resolution, but unfortunately for him, there is no clock. He thinks about the message again, to watch another person die. That's it. Many paintings around show people dying. Their hands take the form of a pointer. He gets his 4 digits out of dying people's hands' direction in paintings, but when he moves one of the digits in the puzzle, the wall opposite the exit starts moving towards Ben, crushing everything in its way. Ben is trapped between the 2 walls and his leg is punctured by a sharp stick. Death will be inevitable. But let's find out in the video if there will be a miracle for him. It's Red recapped here. Today I'm going to explain the movie, Escape Room, which was released in 2019. The movie cuts back to 3 days ago in Chicago, Illinois, where Zoe, an intelligent girl, is in a college lecture hall. Her professor asks a hard question which she knows the answer to, but is too shy to speak up, which the professor also notices. After class, her professor attempts to uplift her confidence.
Yo! Oi! Cash money, baby. You said it in the beginning of the. Eater. Ooh. From wings to testicles. Nigga, that's like 8 chickens right there. Imagine having your balls sitting on a platter. That's crazy. Oh yeah. Let's get back to this. Okay. I ain't watched none of these. You know I watch Home Alone, that's a classic. Please.
If you were trapped with a bunch of gullible morons and forced to do the bidding of a faceless mechanical overlord hiding behind the television, what would you do? Nick's horrible family has made
They ain't lie. I did watch it. No, I didn't think got powers. I ain't watched that, but I want to watch it. And corn. I forgot about my popcorn. Please don't fall. Now it's gonna fall.
A human scarecrow, what would you do? We're in the middle of bumf nowhere, no cell service, cars busted, dad's missing, and the local militia wants to display us above their mantle. This should be easy, since they all have the IQ number of a toddler's shit kicker, except so do our heroes. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the Collective Order of Recreational Necrophilanthropists. Yeah, it spells corn. We're gonna be corn and corn. A field of extreme lead poisoning. Instead of spending Halloween getting white girl wasted and using it as an excuse to dress up as little as possible, Tony and friends decided to play things fast and loose with a trip to a haunted corn maze. It's about what you'd expect from a small town attraction. Drama nerds on jump scare duty, chainsaws revving in the distance, and wait, whose idea was it to surround a bunch of lit torches with dry vegetation and hammered teenagers? You're just asking for a corn-fed inferno like we saw in There's Somebody Inside Your House. Smokey better start tuning up some teens. Fire hazards aside, this festive atmosphere fails to leave an impression on the girls.
You're not very scary. Lamest maze ever. We should get our...
Yeah, real soon. With the end in sight, the others take off for the car, leaving Blondie by herself. Naturally, upon realizing she's all alone, Tony almost immediately begins to panic and starts running aimlessly through the foliage instead of, I don't know, using the mini supercomputer in her pocket to call her bratty friends and beg for an exfil. I mean, if you're that freaked out, what's the harm? It's not like you have guy friends that'll ride you about it until you die and then write it on your fucking tombstone. Honestly, besides having no friends to invite her to Halloween parties, there really wasn't much Tony could have done to prevent her death. Problem is, this place is the ideal hunting ground for any sick son of a bitch looking to thin out the local dating scene. I'm honestly shocked shit like this doesn't happen more often. Anyone who hears our screams or even sees us getting got will probably just think it's all part of the act. And with just about zero visibility in every direction, there's a near infinite number of places to stage an ambush whenever some pretty young thing strays too far from the herd. Just about the only way Tony could have avoided getting bagged and taxied taxidermied would be to make her seem like less of an easy target, like waiting 5 goddamn minutes to send the text message and staying close to your friends. You know, the buddy system would probably be the best way to do that. While taxidermying humans is surely quite the thrill, may I interest you in playing the slightly more legal Monster Legends free-to-play mobile game where you can collect over 1,000
I got an air
trying to
blocker,
follow
it's not working.
will cripple any chance of reasonable decision making. Can't wait. If he was such a
I know
dick,
everything
why are you
about
clutching his
taxidermy,
old
but I'm a
pocket
taxidermy
knife like it's
god
gonna
at
make
heart.
him come back
When I
home
got
and play
already
catch
downloaded,
with
I can't
you?
wait
It
to
won't.
play.
The next unlikable, snobby protagonist we're supposed to root for, I guess, is Tia. Evidently, Dawn sells seeds to farmers, which Tia thinks is totally lame because apparently she doesn't like eating.
They feed the world.
That's great for you, but I actually want to make an impact on the world.
You do realize that without food, there'd be nobody left to even carry
Yeah, I
a
was
disease,
just-
right?
that's
Don
lucky.
seems like
The
the
impact
only
on the world
decent
is
person
food.
so far. Not sure why he's
I feel
trying
like
to
if I
father
couldn't
these
enjoy this
pillocks,
food,
or why he would
I
drag
know
them
what
on a
life would be
sales
like, bro.
trip. They blow a tire, which somehow
There's plenty
doesn't
of food
result
that I
in
still haven't
numbnuts
tasted
cutting his
before.
own throat.
You tell me
Captain
about
Marvel
that.
doesn't even
don't
budge
know
to
about
help
other
with the
things
flat
going on,
tire.
but
I can tell
hope
she's
it's
gonna make
loud.
an excellent doctor with that chip
not
on her
loud,
shoulder.
but
With no service, no
it's decent.
spare, and no one
I
around
don't
for
know, my
miles,
earphones
Dawn
small. I think
decides to
that's what it is.
bravely travel the unknown distance to the next town over on foot by himself. Within mere hours of being told to stay put, Carrie and Tia
Yeah,
are
dirty,
already
easy.
stumbling blindly through the nearby cornfield, all because this
Easy.
halfwit thought he saw something. Yeah, unless that
would
something
you go
looked
through
like a
there
running
and say
tow
something?
truck, it's probably not worth leaving the relative safety of the vehicle to
That's
go
like saying
trespassing on some
it was
rando's
just a
property,
wolf in there.
especially when another
You know,
car
go in
can
there
come by
just
and
in
save
the
your ass at literally any
Or whatever
moment.
kids
End up in a milk carton.
cornfields, I
Then
don't know.
maybe don't aimlessly trespass through a stranger's cornfield. The Wonder Twins make their way to a
You
nearby
go, boom.
farmhouse where they find edgelord Simon lurking in the bushes. He calmly tells them he was watching them
Nah, they
deal with
got
the
it.
flat tire and then invites them in to go check
Nah.
out his stuffed animals.
You got a
Right,
jib
now
like
we just
too.
need to ask this loser if we can use this landline to call
Shadow.
AAA, and we'll be out of here in no time. Wait, why are you, what are you guys doing? Apparently, Carrie and Simon, not including Miss Save the World, are pushing the car somewhere no one will find it.
Why are you guys hiding it?
It's a tool shed.
Yeah, that doesn't answer my fucking question. This isn't Battlefield. You can't just
You do
fix a
in this
flat
chat?
tire by wanging it with a wrench a few dozen times. How exactly is this supposed to improve our situation? For all we know, Don's on his way back with a wrecker to save the day. That's gonna be
He
a
probably
hell of a
died.
lot harder to accomplish when neither the vehicle nor his idiot stepchildren are back where he left them. Fortunately, Tia somehow
these
realizes how stupid this is and asks her brother if they're really about to spend the night with this freak. But before Carrie can open his mouth and piss me off even further, Taxidermy Tom interjects to let them know that there's a ding-dang of hootenanny kicking off nearby, which is apparently all he had to say to retain his captive audience. As for Dawn,
You can leave a note.
on what? You fucking took the car. Oh, okay, just leave it under a big rock. Yeah, I'm sure Don or the tow truck driver knows to watch out for the random piece of trash sitting on the side of the road. What the hell could it possibly even say that would be helpful? Dear Papa Don, we pushed your car into the nearest shack and ran off into the corn to get whiskey bent with a bunch of townies. Kisses. You
Yes,
realize
sir.
he can't even call you to let you know that he found
No,
the car,
Papa John
right? Do
did.
you really
Oh,
expect him to just wait around all night for you to finish screwing around with the FFA? On our way back to the others, Tia stops to examine a nearby scarecrow, which, being just a normal scarecrow and not a dead rotting corpse tied to a stick, proceeds to leak blood all over her hand. Yep, just normal scarecrow business there. Probably nothing to be concerned about. I think you'd at least pull the pant leg up to check what's under the hood after getting doused in fresh blood, but what do I know? And when asked by Carrie why there's blood on her
I
hand,
get blood
she
on me.
says,
I don't know, it dripped from your scarecrow.
I'm not a doctor, but all she had to do was give it a lick and see if it tasted like corn syrup and red dye. This is why you want to
You
eat
be
healthy
idiot
and
to take
exercise,
blood. You
guys,
should be
or
free-
else you'll
free
end up in
card.
hell's
Free
pass with
virus,
somebody
bro.
like Tia
It
diagnosing
was a
you.
dead body,
These human taxidermists are lucky
GG.
Tia is painfully absent-minded, or their shoddy work would have jeopardized their careers. Ask any taxidermist,
I thought
any
you didn't
real
realize she had blood on her
taxidermist.
hand, but
You
nah.
gotta bleed them out while their heart is still pumping. These amateurs clearly killed their victim prematurely. Tisk tisk. After getting completely lost wandering out into the middle of nowhere, the trio finds a bunch of parked cars but no
I
sign
don't
of
know how to
any
use.
party.
Wait, pause with my feet. I don't know how they didn't catch that red flag. Like, come on. If I was that nigga, the girl, she didn't catch it. If I was a nigga, blood came out the scarecrow. Nah, what you mean? But I'm really a very observative nigga. At times, I feel like I'm a little too observative, but yeah.
Simon explains it must have been moved to avoid the fuzz, but before they can continue the search, a local sheriff's deputy rolls in and starts shaking them down. It turns out Simon is a known ne'er-do-well, and he's been squatting in the house they found him in earlier. At some point, the cops told him to get, but he never got, so now they're running him in. T is not about it, and passes a level 100 speech check to get them off scot-free.
Our mom is a federal judge, and she's gonna want to know what we're being charged with.
Yeah. Off the cops while you're stranded in bumfuck nowhere. Great idea, Doc. Here's another idea. Fuck this lying piece of shit. Let's explain just how screwed we are to the deputy and ask him to radio for a tow truck. Are you that hard up to hit up some podunk Halloween party that you're willing to pass up on the first real opportunity to save yourselves and your missing stepdad? Jesus Christ. At least now we can lever Bully McGuire into taking us back to the house since we kept him out of jail. Actually, on second thoughts, let's keep following the known liar to the party that might not exist so he can harvest our organs with a gas station pocket knife. Great. Fortunately for Tia and Carrie, Simon is not completely full of shit. He actually comes through on the party. All three of them head inside and attempt to mingle, but Simon's not exactly the prom king around here.
Give me nuts.
Awesome prank, Thor. The good news is we might be able to find somebody here with a working cell phone that we can use to try and contact Dawn, or arrange transportation to the next town over. Just kidding. We've completely forgotten about that whole situation. Within minutes of arriving to the long-anticipated party, they're approached by dime store Natasha Romanov in need of a little designated driver action. Within seconds, they find themselves booze cruising in the back of a pickup with Edward Cullen at the wheel. Their destination, the haunted corn maze.
You're not very scary. Lamest maze ever. We should get our...
Almost immediately upon reaching the cornfield, the sheriff's deputy spots them riding dirty and begins pursuit. But they manage to give him the slip long enough to bail into the corn. Simon tries to get Tia to run off away with him from the others, but in the first glimmer of good judgment she's shown all day, she decides to stick with the larger group and let Dracula slink off on his own. Partygoers regroup at the entrance to the corn maze, keg and all. Except there's no sign of Simon. I say good riddance. Doodad Quiet Kid written all over him. Applied with a little social lubricant, the hostess lets them all in for free. But Tia's having second thoughts.
Maybe we should turn back.
Just soon. Just a second.
Big brother of the year right there. For real though, the truck you came in on is now in police custody, and that cop really liked you guys, remember? So at this point, unless you plan on walking your happy ass all the way back to the squatter's house alone in the dark, might as well stick it out with the group. Just as she's about to dive in with the rest of the upstanding young people with long lives ahead of them, Tia catches with the rest of the victims.
This black girl, not to be racist, she could be mixed. It's probably mixed, just like me. My hair used to be like that after I cut it off. Please don't send me. God is good. God is good. Well, that's either wave on the head. I don't think it is. I would know though. Yo, people fighting outside. Can y'all hear that? They getting louder. Sound like they riding horses. Keep on clapping. Leave them be. I just extended this 35-minute video to like an hour now. But she should know not to be here. Your black shots should be kicking in right now. You better not be caught lacking. Yo, I'm hearing what he's saying. He's talking about something. I'm finna give me something to eat. You got me effed up. You said you didn't want to get it.
Upstanding young people with long lives ahead of them. Tia catches Big Chungus eyeballing them from a nearby porch. Nothing to read into there. Tia and her new friends run out of cheap beer, prompting this rocket surgeon to go barreling through the corn stalks in search of another keg.
Shit!
Bro, ain't no way. Out of all the people that could have died at this party, the one that I started talking about dies, bro. Come on, bro.
God, single me out.
You kind of did that to yourself. I mean, seriously, how the hell did you think that you were going to find keg bears? It's a maze. Sure enough, that big boy from earlier shows up and throws Haley in a rear naked choke.
No touching.
Back with the others, Tia tells Carrie she's ready to head out, but it looks like he's got other plans. Abandoned for some trim, she begins wandering aimlessly through the maze. Again. And we all know how that goes. Suddenly, she hears heavy footsteps closing in. Tia ducks into the nearby stalks, where Simon randomly pops from out of nowhere. He tells her she needs to go with him, like it's a totally normal, reasonable request. Tia rightly shoves him off and takes off deeper into the field, only to wind up passing out. At some point, Tia wakes up and spots Lurch Princess carrying an unconscious Haley through the field, well away from the actual maze portion. Oh no, that doesn't seem right. Either these people take Halloween way too seriously, or someone's in deep shit. Regardless, Tia isn't really in much of a position to do anything about it, and somehow I doubt the caveman lugging around an unconscious young woman would be all that concerned with her mom being a federal judge. The next morning, Tia and Carrie wake up in Simon's squatter digs without any idea how they got back. Although Carrie has a pretty good idea. Not that Carrie or Tia care, but they still haven't heard anything from stepdad Dawn. Detective Tia also doesn't think to tell Carrie about the 7-foot-tall giant who is not a part of their group, hauling off a girl in the opposite direction of the party, her inkling suspicion of the bloody scarecrows, nor discuss the fact that their dad's been missing for 2 fucking days when, according to the deputy, the next town over is only 9 miles away. But hey, Dee Dee's having a pond party, and drinking cheap beer is more important than having a father around to these ungrateful little shits. Not to mention Haley, the girl Tia saw getting dragged off court by Andre the Giant, is also now missing according to one of her friends. The pair leaves the party, heads back to the squat, where they find Simon talking like best bros with the sheriff's deputy. Wow, big surprise. The guy who's been lying to you is still lying to you. This one is really strange though. If they are such good friends, why did we have to threaten the bastard to get him to leave us alone?
We're friends. He thinks it's funny to mess with people.
Oh, does he now? Yeah, not buying it. I'd say we should demand he use his connection with the local law enforcement to get us a lift out of this hellhole. But there's something seriously suspicious about this whole thing. After all, why didn't he call the deputy when he found us stranded on the side of the road? We should get as far away from this weasel as we possibly can and try to leverage our newfound relationships with some of the locals to get us a ride to the next town over. A 9-mile drive isn't asking for a kidney, so what's the harm in trying? Shit, we could even come back to the party once we touch base with Dawn. The entire day flies by without Carrie or Tia having done anything about their car or Dawn except for shop for costumes to tonight's party, which they're now on their way to.
I saw a girl being carried away from the maze. Have you heard anything from Dawn?
It's literally nighttime, and just now we're finding this issue pressing.
I can't believe he just left us.
I'm not even his stepdaughter. I've known Dawn for all of like 45 seconds, and even I can tell that Dawn...
Hold on. Let me see what I sound like. Hope this ad blocker work. Yo. Echo. Yo. Echo. Yo. Echo. Yo. Echo. Yeah. Yo. Oh, Echo. Yeah. Yo. Oh, Echo. Yeah. Yo. Oh, Echo. Yeah. Yo. Niggas on my gay dog. They get off my big meat. Fuck, nigga. Oh, let me make my camera small. I gotta connect my mic. Yo. Let me see if this going on with this. Yo. And I'm using my camera right now. I'll get it fixed up tomorrow. I'm gonna just end my stream. That's crazy. Well, look, we back.
Don is not the type of guy to leave you, especially not when this was his idea of a family team building exercise. Maybe, just maybe, if your head wasn't so far up your own ass, you'd realize that him being gone for this long is, like, really bad. Maybe, now that they found out Simon's buddy-buddy with the not-so-bad guy sheriff, they will use this vital connection to the police to get help finding Don.
Come on. I know where the party is.
What the fuck?
What do I say if your dad comes?
Stepdad.
You tell him we went out.
Please kill these two already. Jesus Christ.
You guys should really have an escort. I'm not gonna save you again.
Did neither of you hear that shit? As if we needed another reason to want to get the hell out of this place. Protect us from what? Despite the mountain of red flags piling up at their feet, the kids catch a hayride to tonight's festivities. But it looks like they might have made a wrong turn at Albuquerque. Of course, that doesn't stop Carrie from waltzing right in uninvited. Dude, does this look like a typical teenage show rager to you? Oh look, it's Haley. Better go say hi.
So is this like a haunted house situation?
Yeah, something about her seems a little not alive. Could be the huge scar across her throat. Or maybe it's the fact that she's stiff as a board in a house full of strange old people after Tia said Haley was abducted and now missing. Eventually, Carrie gets the hint. She's just not that into him, or really anything, because she's dead. Evidently, it's more than his fragile little ego can handle, so he quickly makes for the front door to cry it out in the cornfield, only it's locked.
Leaving so soon?
Ah, shit. It's this guy. Carrie quickly ducks into the nearest bathroom, where it finally dawns on him that Haley wasn't just giving him the cold shoulder. He reacts to this realization by opening the door, snagging a glass of red wine, and rejoining the rest of the party like nothing happened. You know, I'd say lock yourself in and try calling the cops, but then we'd still be stuck inside waiting for them to show up. Since we managed to give Sean Connery the slip, we should use the opportunity to try the front door again, or snoop around for another exit. Otherwise, about the only other option would be to start a house fire and try to lose them in the resulting panic. The one thing I sure as hell would not do is stand around with a bunch of psychopaths as they share the grisly details of their artistic atrocities, which is exactly what Carrie does.
Insert where the musculocutaneous nerve meets the spinal cord.
I take my earlier comments back about the bleeding scarecrow. This is a man of vision with exquisite taste, refined technique.
Hold on, fuck is my
Bleeding scarecrow. This is a man of vision.
What is my nigga doing here? This black ass nigga with some dreads in his head.
With exquisite taste, refined technique, a flair for showmanship, and above all else, a sense of responsibility for the proper tutelage of the next generation's human taxidermists.
We don't want a satellite picking up your license plates.
Robert Donovan, folks, looking out for his guests' safety and well-being. Damn fine chap he is. Evidently, they prefer to butcher their victims alive. As we see on the screen, Simon's homeboy in blue is already out of the picture, giving them free rein to hack and slash their way to Carnegie Hall. This is a little bit more than Carrie's weak constitution can bear, dropping him flat on his back with the whole room watching.
Apparently you slipped into the wrong party.
Yeah, I'd say that was obvious before we even made it onto the porch. But this is Carrie we're talking about. Back outside, Tia's still scoping the place out. Coming around to the side yard, a little girl in an upstairs window asks if she's one of the artists. When she says no, Kiddo tells her to get the fuck out. I'm sure she meant nothing by that stark warning. Just then, nature calls, prompting Tia to make a pit stop at a nearby outhouse. But apparently, it's out of service, and she falls ass over head into a pit of raw sewage. Fortunately, Simon saw the whole thing go down, because of course he's watching behind the bushes. He rushes to her aid, tossing down her phone and lowering a garden hose over the ledge, but there's not enough slack.
You want the stuff now for out or your phone?
Nah, I don't need it here. Yeah.
You did it already?
You
did it already?
Nah, I didn't need it. Anything I just ordered tomorrow. I already, that was the only two things I needed right now.
Black for her to reach it.
Use his body to stand on and grab this.
How about you go get a longer fucking hose? What? Where did Dee Dee come from? Apparently this is the Mary Poppins shit house. Well, this is a fitting place as any for an ill-timed exposition dump.
I need a bath.
No. You need to get the fuck out of the outhouse, Grave, before the people who put you in here finish the job. Speaking of which, Robert Donovan needs to get some quality control on his apprentices. Did nobody listen to his speech? Positioning of the surgical PICS points is of the utmost importance. You would search where the subcutaneous nerve meets the spinal cord. Otherwise, your specimen has movement. Pay attention.
Somebody grab the freaking hose!
Oh, right. I forgot, we're in deep shit. The good news is, we're not alone in this mess. Both of Tia's outhouse mates are taller than she is, so they should just boost her up first and climb up on their own. We should also use the phone light to search for any natural handholds in the walls to make climbing out easier. Although, given that they're drugging people and dumping them down here, I'd imagine it's designed to make escape as difficult as possible. It's hard to say whether we can really trust Simon, but this is a beggar's chooser situation, so I'll take all the help we can get. Just as Tia and company are about to make their great escape, Simon spots a couple goons dragging away a struggling Carrie straight towards them. He locks the outhouse from the inside, which provides enough disruption for Carrie to break away from his captors and start stabbing, because he still had his knife on him. Because these dumbasses didn't think to tie him up or check him for weapons. What kind of fly-by-night murder cult is this? Stupid kid's been working overtime to dig his own grave for 2 days now, and you let him get away just like that?
He had a knife. And I have a finger.
Just can't find good help these days. That said, Carrie, you gotta finish your kills, man. We had a prime opportunity to take out 2 of Satan's little helpers, and you just ran off into the corn like these fuckers weren't about to make you into a coat rack? Rookie mistake. At any rate, Carrie's free to run for his life, and run he does. Straight into fucking Dawn? No way. I figured he'd be feeding buzzards by now. But how the hell did he even find us? And why in God's name didn't he try to call us or text us at any point in the 2 days he's been gone? For what may be the first time in history, Dawn believes the whole story as soon as Carrie stammers it out, and then asks the all-important question.
Where's Tia?
You forgot your little sister. Jesus Christ, she's probably an area rug by now. The 2 of them decide they'll have to go in after her. Fortunately, Dawn's packing a little firepower. Nice high point CF, bro. What, the extra $50 for the C9 just break the bank? I hope you at least sprung for the 10-round mags. I mean, look at this freak. 8 rounds of 38 just ain't gonna cut it.
Gonna end up in a milk carton.
That's right, Tia. All because your stepdad had to cheap out on the yeet cannon. Speaking of which, she's running out of time. Lumpy and the gang have already started fishing people out of the hole.
The hell? Don't ruin the specimen.
That was pathetic. Honestly, you didn't even know Tia. Didn't care about Dee Dee, so just running away was a perfectly acceptable move. This guy's ego, thinking he could Bruce Lee Senator Armstrong, was a massive overestimation of his abilities. If you're gonna dance, at least try to keep your distance like McGregor did with the Mountain. You can tell Otis takes pride in his work, like the surgeons of old, wearing blood-encrusted aprons as a show of, well, not really talent, more experience. After all, he did accidentally leave his victims a rope to climb out of the shit pit. The only problem here is that there's nothing tied to the other end. Fortunately, the little girl from earlier, Beatrice, shows up to lend a hand. With her help, Tia and Dee Dee are finally free from yesterday's minestrone.
Thanks. You guys shouldn't be here. Why?
Are you fucking kidding me? Well, let's think back with our head movies. Because they drugged you, threw you in a literal shithole, abducted, murdered, and taxidermied your friends, pissed on you, and left you to die of dysentery. And now, they're fucking squeezing people to death. Tia, leave this bitch behind before she gets you killed. Now that they're free to take off in just about any direction, they choose to hide in a well-lit, 3-foot-deep swimming pool on the opposing side in direct view of the patrolling thugs, with Dee Dee of all people, who was deathly scared of holding her breath in kiddie pools. The thugs were literally on the other side. You could have simply ducked behind the pool and played Ring Around the Rosie until they left. Now you're in plain view, you can't breathe, can't hear, can't see if they noticed you, can't run, and have an extremely limited amount of time before you're forced to loudly breach the surface. Dee Dee seemingly never figured out how to hold her breath. Apparently it's a learned skill. Honestly, good riddance. At least she didn't take us down with her. Those thugs were probably just sitting there laughing at what an idiotic hiding spot that was and just waiting for her to surface. Or not. Yeah, the only logical conclusion is that she must have melted upon contact with the water. I mean, am I losing my fucking mind? What world do you live in where you could possibly hide in crystal clear water? It's a goddamn kiddie pool. How can you not see her with your own eyes? Clearly, this town waters their crops with Brawndo. Dee Dee failing to hold her breath shouldn't have even made a fucking difference, since anyone with eyeballs should have easily been able to spot them hiding underwater. Seriously, whoever recruited these guys should be pistol whipped. Also, why even fucking bother with the pitchfork? If you think that there's a chance someone's still in there, just hang around for a few minutes until they're forced to come up for air. Unless she's a Navy SEAL or David Blaine, if no one comes up after 5 minutes, nobody's coming up at all. Oh well. With the guards gone, Tia can haul ass out into the corn, and she just climbed up into the little girl's room. God damn it. You realize this place is probably full of them, right?
You definitely should not have followed me.
Yeah, no shit. Let's see how Carrie and Dawn are doing. Oh great, they went poking around in a rickety old barn, and now they're stuck watching Ray and Dee Dee get mutilated.
If my dad was here, he would know what to do.
Oh, the dude that left you and Tia without so much as a note? Yeah, he'd have coordinated a hostage rescue plan to extract Tia from the grips of the taxidermy cartel. Yeah. The baffling decisions continue to roll in, with Dawn handing his piece over to Carrie. No explanation why. As if Carrie might be more of a weapons expert than Dawn, who at least has a concealed carry course under his belt.
My dad showed me. It looks just like his.
In that it resembles the shape of a pistol you like to draw with crayons in your spare time, as if that somehow means you will be more able to use it effectively. I know the plot gods are going to curve his bullets into the goons somehow, but if this was even remotely realistic, nobody is going to be running the carry drill, nor will they even know he limp-wristed it, stovepiped it, and got turned into a pincushion exhibit at Robert Donovan's next showing. It turns out they could have left the barn this whole time, although this almost immediately results in Carrie getting spotted by a passing sentry. Just then, they spot Tia climbing down from the bedroom window. There's no way to call out to her without drawing attention, you know, unless the guards are blind and deaf, which they might be. Fortunately, Dawn has suddenly transitioned from corner crybaby to Sam fucking Fisher.
I got this.
Are you just gonna leave him there for his friends to find? You're not even gonna pick up his gun. What the fuck was the point of all that then? Just a flex on your stepson? In the time it took him to do that, you could have snuck over and grabbed Tia's attention. Oh, would you look at that? She climbed back inside the house. Mission accomplished, gentlemen. What we really ought to do now is needlessly overcomplicate things. Carrie, go ahead and hide in this here cornhole while I sneak this shit. That way, when I inevitably find your sister, the two of us won't be able to find you.
Split up? Are you crazy?
Batshit crazy, son. Now go on. And guess what? He fucking does it. Which, of course, results in him immediately getting locked in. Oh, but just wait until you see what Tia's up to. Ever since she climbed back in through the first-story window, she's been running room to room in a house full of murderers, like some kind of half-baked, dishonored speed run. Eventually, she backs herself into a corner alongside the newly immortalized versions of Ray and Dee Dee, literally seconds before the judging starts. So what does she do? Well, she just stands there like one of the exhibits. Don't worry though, these idiots totally fucking buy it 100%, despite the fact that she's clearly still moving, breathing, and literally crying. Suddenly, the artist enters the room to rake in the prestige, and since she knows exactly how many specimens she worked on, clearly the jig is up. But just before she can blow Tia's cover, Roger Moore forcibly disqualifies her ass for cheating on the Dee Dee dummy.
Hear this? Hollow.
Damn, dude, I could have told you that. The resulting commotion gives Tia a chance to slip away unnoticed, although at this point she probably could have just walked away while everyone was watching, and nothing would have happened. Instead of cutting her losses and leaving through the nearest available exit, Tia posts up in a hall closet where she lures in one of the weird-ass B-girls to help look for her phone. She then proceeds to brain the bitch with the nearby vase before hitmanning her outfit and returning to the hive. Alright, points for the bait and bash, but you better keep piling on the blows until you're standing in skull soup, otherwise she's liable to wake up 30 seconds later and ruin the disguise. Where you lose me is rejoining the B squad. There's no way in hell they all just randomly wore the same thing and stuck together because twinsies. They obviously know each other, which means unless they don't have eyes under those glasses, we're completely screwed the instant they see us.
You just went. I'm good.
Okay, or not. Either way, we should use this disguise to explore the parts of the house we haven't seen yet to look for Carrie and Dawn. If the plan was just to hang around the party until they're brought out on slabs, then what the hell's the point? Just fucking leave. For some reason, Beatrice recognizes Tia in costume and thinks it's wise to just start chatting her up like an old college friend. Oh yeah, Beatrice is Pierce Brosnan's daughter, turns out. So there's that. Anyway, this obviously fucks her garbage plan straight to pieces, as Daddy immediately takes notice of this and yanks her wig. With her cover blown, she tries to flee down the hall, only someone's waiting for her.
I'll give to you, Dad.
Dawn is dirty. Can't say I blame him though. But why didn't he just drive them up to Otis's house, drug their drinks, then stuff them to begin with? What was the point of having your car break down and leaving them partying for 2 days? Is there even a point in trying to understand anyone's decisions? Yeah, things aren't looking good for young Tia right now. But just when it looks like she's about to get done up like basically everyone else in this town, Carrie comes smashing into a nearby window and buys her an opportunity to escape into the cornfield. Only it doesn't work out so well for him. Damn, Carrie with the sacrifice play. Should have gone for the corn, man. Always go for the corn. Of course, he would have to have known that breaking a window like that would bring the whole place down on top of him. I would have taken the time to search for weapons. You know, like the handgun Dawn gave you, or the gun on the dude Dawn murked by the barn. Then again, it was probably just an elaborate hoax to gain his trust. Dawn, you slippery bitch. One thing's for sure, this is not going to end well. As punishment for ruining his latest masterpiece, George Lazenby sentences Carrie to be violently dismembered down in Nurse Clegane's Special F shack.
This may sting a bit.
That sounds like an understatement. With the procedure underway, Tia sneaks in through the basement window and crawls under a nearby workbench. Turns out, Simon had the same idea, so he teleported under the same workbench. He's here to get even, and apparently, he's gonna use the pencil case, notepad, and a high-point mag he found to improvise an HK MP5K and take the fight to the psychos that strung up his friend. Simon says to create a distraction so he can free Carrie, but before he can implement whatever foolproof plan he had in mind, Dawn pulls back the curtain and knocks him on his ass. He then proceeds to yoke Tia up by the hair and just sort of tosses her absent-mindedly next to the gun before turning his back on her. What is he, a T-3000 Terminator? Naturally, she snags the piece and aims it right at Dawn's chest.
You should have left when I gave you a chance.
I'm sorry, what? When did you give me a chance? Is this like Gruner telling us we should have gotten back on the boat? Fuck you, man. Tia, light this guy up. Loudest sound during a gunfight right there. Yeah, basic principles of firearm safety dictates you should always check the chamber when you pick up a gun. Honestly, after everything I've seen today, I'm surprised she didn't look down the barrel afterwards. Fortunately, Dawn just assumes she's no longer a threat and goes right back to reciting his bad guy dialogue, giving Captain Price the opportunity to slide over the spare magazine, and this time, it doesn't go click.
He will never be my dad.
Nice shooting. Except now the gun is empty, and you still have Andre the Giant to deal with. Just then, Simon remembers he's pretty much completely uninjured and drives his street-legal pocket knife directly into Big Show's back. Come on, man. Where's the follow-through? You would have been better off going for the Achilles like the bride in Kill Bill. With the tormentor occupied, Tia frees her brother and heads for the stairs.
I'm right behind you. Go.
Dude, you're literally missing half your leg. You ain't right behind anyone. What you need to do is clear the pistol malfunction and tag team the bigot, and then all pick up weapons and help each other fight your way out of here. Hey, guess who's back? Yeah, not so tough with Mr. Larson pulling your calf apart like the Colonel's Extra Crispy, are you? Although, in a surprising twist of fate, Carrie's leg being a total show actually works in his favor. He literally breaks away from his attacker and somehow staggers up the stairs. Then runs straight for the corn and lives on buying shoes at half price. Nah, he actually falls straight into the huge ass pit from earlier, which will be great for his gaping leg wound. Tia immediately comes to his aid, but just as she pulls him to the surface, Timothy Dalton gets her in the spine with one of those tools they use to immobilize their victims. Turns out it's cleanup time, and Jaws and his boss are the only ones that haven't already left to terrorize the next town.
Did you get any petrol on the house?
For his last trick, Barry Nelson hangs Tia up like a scarecrow so she can watch as Master Blaster caves in her brother's skull. But before he can send Carrie off like Oberyn Martell, Simon swoops in from behind with a fire axe and does the same thing as before, only with an axe. Seriously, dude, try something different. As big as Shaq Daddy is, you hit him in the back of the knee with that sucker, and he's definitely going down. After that, it's just like splitting firewood. Not that a scrawny like you would know anything about that. At any rate, this makes the big boy big mad, so much so that he mindlessly follows his attacker into the burning house and immediately becomes trapped in the inferno. So I guess it worked out after all. After losing his pursuer, Simon loops around and heads back to Carrie.
You okay?
Are you for real? Of course, because everyone just keeps ambushing everyone over and over again. Daniel Craig comes in out of nowhere and cold cocks Simon while he's busy asking dumbass fucking questions. Seriously though, unless you think you can instantly heal him right there on the spot, why bother going back to Carrie when there's still a major threat in the area? We should focus on arming up as best as we can for the final boss. I mean, it's not like he's going anywhere. Oh well, I guess the bad guys win this one. Time to pack it in. That is, unless, wait, could it be? Oh, it's another ambush. This time, Beatrice comes in clutch with the magic paralyzer thing.
Hi, Daddy. Did I do it right?
Should have bought her that pony, Bo Sinclair. It turns out Tia's totally fine once they pull that thing out of her back. Shocker, I know. After scooping up what's left of Carrie and loading him into the back of the truck, our heroes lay down the mother of all Uno reverse cards and leave Mr. Doctor dangling from a stick as they stroll off into the sunrise, never to trust a stepfather ever again. Ultimately, all our heroes made it out in one piece. Sort of, but this is mostly due to the fact that they were dealing with forces far too stupid to actually exist. In the end, I think the corn from Corn was beaten. Moral of the story, always go for the corn. And remember to download Monster Legends to
Got that. Well, let me end this stream off right here so I can just post this. Okay, yes sir.